What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Submission Fishing Live. I'm your host, Muto. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully, having a good Thursday. See who we got in the house. Benji, Tom Cotton Moreno, Oos, welcome to the show. Butterknife, Benji, Doug Rubin, what's going on? Oos, Graham, welcome back. Good to see you. Nick Jones, Oos, welcome to the show. Danny Perez, what's up, man? Glad you could join us. Tim, Valley Center. Yeah, we're curious where you guys are from. Type in where you're watching the show from. We're up here in want to see who the furthest one away is. You guys know I'm up here in Carlsbad. Type your location. Dave Rage, Oos. I know we got the Fall Book crew in here. Michael Soloranzo, Oos. Welcome to the show. Kiwi Reacts. Good to see you again. Captain Dan from Terramar. That's right. Another Carlsbad native here. Don Knapp, Oos. Welcome to the show. Or Benji, you feeling the heat? In Kanto. That's Marvin, I didn't know you lived that far for some reason. I thought you were like local down here. Interesting. Yeah, I got a show, hopefully a good show for you guys today. We'll go over the usual stuff, a lot of Instagram questions, things you guys got, but also we're going to be talking about some of the Dorado, among other things, just kind of a little refresher about like what Dorado are, how to catch them, where to find them, what they're doing here, kind of how long we can expect them to stick around. And a lot of other stuff in fishing too. There's some good bites going on right now in different areas. So we'll kind of cover those, maybe look at some maps and kind of see what's going on. Obviously, if you guys got questions, let me know. We got a few news stories per usual. And yeah, just the average good fishing Thursday. Captain Dan's into second week. Oh, then you're headed into Captain Dan going to New York. Yeah, Benji, you're in Bullhead. That's right. Kiwi Rex. I forgot, man. You moved to Texas. You might be the one. We got the Chula Vista guys in here. Menifee. Yeah, that's pretty far. That's pretty far too. I mean, it's not like Texas far. It's not New York far, but decent enough. All right, let me pull my thing here. Let's see a couple of news stories and see if I can maybe put these in the chat for you guys so you can see what I'm looking at. Most of them we had some couple more fishing boats going down, and then looks like a couple more rescues had to take place. We just had that boat, was it earlier this year, hit the one of the Channel Islands and went down, and that was, I forget the name of the boat, but there was one that had been fishing for a long time. I think it was in service for a while. I forget the name, but it was it definitely went down. Apparently they salvaged it or something like that. But there was another one went down in San Clemente Island. This one, it doesn't look like was a commercial boat. Let me bring it up here. If I can get it. Yeah, so this one was a boat, looks like that ran aground in San Clemente Island, and looks like everybody was rescued. Coast Guard said it rescued 9 people after the fishing boat ran aground near San Clemente Island shoreline early Saturday morning. And this one was a 47-foot fishing vessel, which was pretty big, all things considering. But there was only 9 people on board. Looks like everybody made it. A helicopter crew was dispatched. There was 9 adults. Apparently, it lowered the crew. I guess a swimmer went down. They recovered everybody, and they were transported to the Coast Guard San Diego. So, I mean, it's definitely good news. But yeah, definitely the second boat to go down this year, which is never a good sign. So, I don't know what happened. That one looked like it was early in the morning, so there was no details as to why it went down. It's more than anything, we're just glad everybody's safe, and it's just a reminder, like we always talk about, especially if you're into boating, you can never. I think a lot of these instances I've heard are like a lot of people do overnights and stuff like that, and I don't know if this was the case for this boat, but maybe judging by the time it could have been the case. But a lot of people do overnights and stuff, and I think it's issues when they go to set anchor and stuff. Either the anchor doesn't get set properly or something happens. So when instead of having somebody on watch, 24/7, I think, which is typically customary. I don't know, I've never done it, but somebody should be at the helm to just make sure everything's good. You've got to give the captain relief. Somebody usually rotates the nights, but I think if that doesn't happen, either the anchor doesn't set or it gets dragged, and a lot of times these boats just get dragged into the rocks. Um, and again, I don't know if that's what happened here, but the way it kind of like was sitting against the island, like how the back hit it, it almost looked like it was dragging anchor. So I know that's a pretty common thing, and I'm a boater, but I'm not like I've never overnighted. I've never had to like anchor up and moor myself for. And it's different too. It's not like you have a mooring buoy. When you go into the bays, um, it's a little different. They have buoys that are you would attach to, and then those are basically planted in the ground. They've got you know big old cement bells in the sand, and they hold you in place. When you're out there in the middle of nowhere, it's like you got to rely on your anchor to really hold you. And if you're not paying attention, man, that thing just drags, or it's high wind, or even the wrong kind of anchor, can get you pushed in there. So, but everybody was okay. So, I mean, that's good news. Yeah, second boat I've heard of so far. San Clemente Island is 18 miles long. Amazing how many boats nail it. Yeah, yeah, that's what's. Yeah, maybe it's just me, but it's like I've got like I'm probably a little too cautious. When I'm like even on my boat, like if I'm getting just too close to the um rocks or the coast or anything, it's like I pull my boat away or I back up, or if I'm coming in, like I make sure I'm way wide, even though I know there's like plenty of space. I don't even chance it. It's like some of these guys, I don't know if they're just. It's almost like you have to try to hit that thing unless something mechanically goes wrong. Then it's like I totally understand. Like if your engine fails, and that's that can happen to anybody. But running aground when you're like controlling the boat, man, just leave plenty of space. Crazy. I fished overnight 10th and 11th full day, the 18th, and overnight again, the 27th, 28th. Heck yeah, Dave, go get him, man. And then there was a another story we had here. This one I could find. It was the Coast Guard News. A Coast Guard medevac 58-year-old man from a fishing vessel. I guess it was approximately, was it say 90 miles off the coast Saturday. Sport fishing vessel Fortune crew members contacted Coast Guard Sector San Diego Joint Harbor Operations Center watch standards requesting medevac for a man experiencing heart attack-like symptoms. Sector San Diego coordinated Coast Guard district level command. Yes, looks like they got him up. Individual was reported in stable condition. So, I mean, that's another good thing. But yeah, just one more thing to talk about. Every so often these things come up, and we just got to give a refresher that when you're out in water, and especially when you're 90 miles out, even for a helicopter, I mean, that's a pretty long ride. You know what I'm saying? So just make sure you're healthy. Um, I don't think you can prepare for that. Most boats have some level of first aid, but I mean, not for heart attacks. The guy looked like he was fairly young, so there's nothing you can do. But looks like they got him off safely. But just be prepared, guys. Anything could happen out there. We went on a trip last year um, on the Aztec. Kevin was with me, and we had to come back early because some guy had like he had a stroke or something like that. So we were going to fish the night, but ended up having to come back and make the run, which is totally worth it. You got to get the guy in. And luckily we were close enough because the bluefin we were looking for were kind of right there on the island. So we weren't that far and we were able to make it back. But when we got there, the, fire department, everybody was waiting on board and stuff like that. So glad he's safe. So a couple news stories. Everybody's good. Everybody's safe. Just that constant reminder, man. You got to respect the sea. Got to respect the water. Anything could happen out there. Got to be prepared. That's not the time to skimp on safety measures. Is when you're out at sea. It's you guys know you've been out there long enough. A lot of times there's either nobody out there or they're a long ways away, and you're on your own. So make sure you got your life jackets. Make sure you got EPIRBs, um, everything you think you're going to need. You get yourself taken care of if you go down. We'll show that one. We'll show that one later. Chet Prag Oos, welcome to the show. Glad you could join us. Salty Dangler, welcome to the show. El Dorado out of Long Beach, then Liberty, then probably the producer or OG on the 28th. Nice, dude. Was that Old Glory? I think that's the one I went on, right? When we went out there. Saltwater Slayer, Oos, welcome to the show. Glad you could join us. If you guys are new to the show, if you see people typing Oos, just means that they've liked the show. So if you like the show, type Oos. Let us know. That helps the algorithm a lot. We had to haul ass this weekend from Tanner Banks back to California at night to make a weigh-in. The next day, we saw the huge 30-foot, 18-inch diameter tree in the water that would ruin your day for sure. Yeah, and that's what's crazy is like super sketch running that hard at night. Yeah, dude, for sure. Because we were, I don't know if I ever told you guys, but like we got pictures of it, and I was gonna post it for some reason, and I don't think I ever did. Me and Kevin, we went on one of these, and I think one of these videos we filmed, or maybe it wasn't one we filmed. We were doing some of this big rock fishing. We were coming back. Kevin was driving, yeah, and there was like straight up like half a tree in the water. I mean, I got a 19-foot boat. This thing was like probably half the size of the boat, and it was round. Like you could not put your arms around it. It was a huge log, big piece of tree. I don't know if it was like it rolled off of a supply boat or something, but it looked like it was kind of cut. You know what I mean? Yeah, but if you hit that thing, it's lights out, basically game over. And especially at night, we don't have any lights, or I don't know if the radar would pick that thing up. I probably would, but I imagine it'd be pretty small. It's so close to the water, and yeah, crazy, man. It is sketchy for sure. We've gone out. I've only gone out a few times, like in the morning, where it's basically dark and you can't see, and it's like, yeah, you're basically driving on faith. You see the buoys. That's where you rely on like your buoys, making sure you're on the right side of them and on the inside, and you just hope everything's right, man. That's crazy. Wharf TV, welcome. Good seeing you, Coach, this weekend at the Spotty Awards. Manny Fresh, welcome. Oh, by the way, Chet Prack, who's in here, you guys congratulate him. He was the Weekend Warrior champion, belt winner, Spotty Bowl champ. The champ graces us with his presence. Congratulations on that. Yeah, it's cool seeing a lot of you guys too. Got to talk to you guys, and it's always good seeing you guys at these live events. And that was at the Spotty Bowl award ceremony Saturday. Always fun. Let's see what else I got on the checklist here news wise. If you guys, so we've got Submission at Sea coming up this Saturday. If you guys are fishing with me, going on the trip, we've got we're going on a day trip out of the Malahini, and we're leaving. I believe the boat leaves at 6 a.m. You should have got an email, so be at the docks around 5. It should be a great trip. I don't know where we're going yet, so be prepared for anything. I'd bring a fly line setup. Bring your jigging rods. Pretty much anything you think, surface irons, something to throw surface irons. But yeah, it's gonna be a cool trip for those of you going or want to go next year. This is the second annual we've done like custom shirts. Warbaits is gonna go, so Afrin's gonna be there. He's bringing baits for everybody, so you're gonna get some submission jigs. You're gonna get some warbaits jigs. You're gonna get a chance at a raffle. So Simon's gonna have a raffle for a rod. I think he's gonna bring 2 different rods that we can raffle off. And yeah, we got gift cards, hats. I mean, all kinds of stuff we're going to give away at the raffles too. So be there around 5 o'clock if you're going on that. And if you guys want to fish with me on a different date, I'm sponsoring a trip for BD Outdoors. Let me see if I can find the info here, and I'll put it in chat. So Cameron, if you guys know, he was on the show from BD Outdoors. We're sponsoring a trip on the producer. I know I mentioned it a couple weeks ago. It was going to be like a kids and parents thing, but apparently that got scrapped because it's in middle of August. Apparently kids are already going back to school, so it's just going to be a normal day. It was going to be like a 3/4 kind of kids rockfish trip. That is no more. It's just been converted to a full day trip, so that's in a couple weeks, and I'm sponsoring that trip. It's not the same as the Submission at Sea. We're not going to have like the shirts and the gear. You will get some jigs because I am sponsoring it, and I'll be on that trip, but it won't be like all the events that we do. Although BD does it up too. They've got their own giveaways and stuff like that, so they're fun. The Bloody Dex trips are really cool. And let me see if I can. And I do have a link to that too, but I may have to throw that in later. What I say, the producer? It's on the Pacifica, is what it is. Yeah, and I'll see if I can get this link for you guys and throw it in there. So that's, or you can go to BD Outdoors and check out their trips and look up the Pacifica trip. I think it's in, let's see. I know, right? I'm so prepared for this. Riveting live show. August 16th. So that's coming up pretty soon. Same thing, be at the dock at 6 p.m. Seaforth Landing, San Diego, targeting topwater species such as tuna, yellowtail, Dorado, potential to target some bottom fish depending on the location. So pretty similar to what we're doing for this mission at sea. No passports required. Pretty much looks like the same thing. So that's like looks like $225 for a day trip, full day, 12 hours. And that's the Pacifica. Go find it on BD Outdoors. Look up Pacifica trip, and yeah, so it's another opportunity if you guys want to come fish with us. So Cal Steve, Oos, welcome to the show. Good raffles. Yeah, man, we got some good stuff this year. Got a ticket for using my Fish Pro in the dark. I'm heartbroken I can't make submission. It's all good, dude. We got more coming next year. Hopefully it's an annual thing, and you don't have to do that. Yeah, the Pacifica. Just a day trip. Picked up one of your baits at Pacific Coast Bait and Tackle. Yeah, man, they've been really cool. They're the closest one to me. They're right here in Oceanside. Cool guys over there. Nate, who works for BD Outdoors. He was on the show a couple weeks ago too. We got to chat with him. We got the shirts. Then the shirts just came in, so we got the Submission at Sea. We got the yellow emblem. Last year was kind of red. Yellow Samurai. Got the California mint colored sun shirts. 50 SPF. So everybody on the trip can be getting one of those. Just thought I'd show those off. Let's see. Oscar, welcome to the show. Glad you could join us. Good to see you. I feel like I haven't seen you in a while, Oscar. How's everything been? Yeah, PCBTs, they're a good tackle store. They're like smaller, but they usually just only carry like the stuff that works. So some of these bigger tackle stores, it's like you go in there and they have everything, but I mean you don't really know what works. It's just like they kind of buy whatever. They're kind of smaller, more condensed. So like all their stuff is like it's worthwhile, you know what I mean? They're not selling stuff that's just gimmicky and stuff like that. So that's what I like. They have to consolidate and they only sell stuff that moves, just because they don't have the space for it. So it's usually a good sign. If these small tackle stores do really well, it's usually because they're selling good stuff. They have to. Good reel selection too. Good rod and reel selection. Ooh, thank you. Yeah, Angelo's across the street, man. I used to eat there all the time. That Big Mouth burger, that thing's legit. Lorenzo, welcome to the show. Glad you could join us. Agree, coach. Yeah, fourth quarter fishing looks good. Yeah. Late September and early October are looking interesting. Yeah, we have some water in the pipe that can make things interesting by then. Tuna in December anyway. Yeah, I agree. I've got some of that in my notes too, and I got temp break queued up. For sure. Yeah, I think I've covered all that. So, I mean, we can kind of jump into that. Yeah, there's also been like Coach is saying, the bite has been slower this year than it was last year. So not slower, but it's just slower in the year. It seems like our weather's been kind of pushed back. We've been talking about El Nino for a while coming in, but the water's been pretty cold. Now it's just starting to pick up. Like I said in the title, Dorado are starting to move in. And this time last year, I mean, they were freaking all over the place. And looks like just this week or last weekend, they were starting to come in. Not huge numbers of them, but the first signs I've seen, which is, I think, pretty telling. And you can see here why that warm water is finally coming in. It seemed like all year I was going out, and you guys go check this out on Temp Break. You can see the temperature here on the left. The dark red is 74 degrees, and you're seeing so much of it. It's my understanding most of the Dorado, they're still going down into Mexico to get them. Um, so I don't know where exactly. I haven't looked at like the see where the boats are, but I'm guessing they're probably around here, probably around the upper finger. So the Dorado like to hang around this hot water, and you can see up here along the coastline where it's super hot, like 74 degrees. Last year, these things, I mean, they were going bananas right here, and you can see why. This water, all right. So from Oceanside to Dana Point and this whole part up in Newport, this was like just caked with Dorado. There was a few yellowfin in there, but I mean, this water is just so hot. It seems like we've been waiting for it all year too, and they're just starting to move up. Dorado usually stay pretty close too. They hit the patties. They stay fairly coastal. I mean, not last year they were like within. I think I went out one time at a Dana Point and saw them like maybe 2 miles off the coast or something like that. They were super super close. Um, and a good spot was like right here in the 276, 279, and then kind of like this little triangle right here was like super hot. Then they kind of pushed out to the 277, but you see this warm water right here. So I imagine they're probably down here. I think is where the fleet is going to get them. Looks like, but they're within day range. So what's interesting is how it's the looks like the day range boats are getting on them, and not so much like the longer range boats. So it's still everybody's still kind of up on that tuna fishing, is what it seems like, the bluefin fishing. But the bluefin have all pushed out here. So from what I can tell and what I've seen in other reports and stuff like that, Tanner and Cortez Bank has been. This is where everybody's been bluefin fishing. Apparently, there's been big yellowtail on patties and stuff out here too. But so it seems like most of the fleet is still fishing bluefin, and they haven't bothered with the Dorado. Because if the day I've been on boats in years past where they kind of would abandon the bluefin fishing later in the season, and then they start going in for the Dorado and yellowfin and stuff like that. But for the bluefin is still good, and a lot of people, you know, they just love bluefin fishing. They want to catch bluefin, so they've been going out here, and it's still been good. The Tanner Bank and Cortez Bank, which is that's a hell of a long ride. I mean, that's probably where that guy got evac, right? They said they were like 90 miles out. That's a long, long ass trip, but you got to be at least probably like a 2 day boat to get out there and get any type of fishing. So while they're ignoring those, other boats are down here um, in Mexico. But the thing is that the day boats are getting them. The San Diego's been getting on them. I think maybe the Grande's gone down there, and there was some other boat too out of Seaforth Landing, which was another day boat. I don't know if it's like the Western Pride or something like that, but um, they've been getting on Dorado too. The numbers have still been kind of sparse and small, but we know if they're within day range, I think those typically the max on those boats is probably like a 60-mile trip, maybe 50-mile trip, which is still pretty far. But um, if they're within day range, that's good for us. So hopefully in the next week or two, and then next month they'll probably be pushing up. But yeah, that's like to your point, Coach. That it looks like late. They came here so early last year. It was like by the end of September, they were almost already done eating, and then by August it was like full speed, crazy fishing, and now they're just starting to show up. So I think you're definitely right that we're kind of water temperature wise been pushed back for a while, and yeah, fourth quarter should be really really good. Those troll albacore all over the last few weeks, yeah, were red herring in my opinion. Wonder what they were doing here. Yeah, they got another one. So there's four, which isn't a lot, but four albacore is crazy. Yeah, I don't know, but what's weird is that it wasn't like four albacore like all on one boat. They've been like different days and different times, which is crazy. Like one boat caught two, then another boat caught one, then another one caught one. So weird. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. El Nino. Yeah, we've been waiting for this all year, man. This is what everybody's been talking about it. El Nino, El Nino, El Nino, but it looks like it's finally starting to show up. I mean, that water's pretty warm. I swear it was just a few weeks ago I went out there and it was still in like the 60s. And it's finally turned. Looks like it's finally starting to push up. And Dorado are coming with it. Dansky says going out on the Penguereros and Ensenada next week. Hoping the wind is gone by then. Yeah, man, that's the only thing, man. It is windy. Those pangas don't handle too well. You still get after it. Yeah, bluefin, Dorados, albacore, and yellowfin and yellowtail. It's crazy. The yellowtail have been like really good this year. If it seemed like I didn't hear much about yellowtail last year. There was like little rats on the patties. I caught a few of them, but and then I did catch a decent one at the islands too. At the last submission at sea was probably like a 25-30 pounder, but aside from that, like it didn't seem like it was that good. But this year, when you look at like the fish counts, it's weird. People are getting bluefin and yellowtail, like good size ones on the patties, which is, I mean, super cool. I mean, you can't argue with that. Still haven't caught a Dorado. Want to check off the list. Oh man, Oscar, now's the time. NOAA SST charts show massive warm water off southern Mexico. It will take a minute to get set up here, though. Yeah, they're starting to push. A full day could have been less than ideal. Curious to find where the captain will take a Saturday. Yeah, I don't know, man. It could be anywhere. That's why I'm saying bring everything. Bring any gear you can. There's so many fish like scattered all about. Like I don't know what's gonna happen. Taipan Rods, Oos, welcome to the show. Glad you could join us. Dear baby Jesus, I saw Salty land his first pelagic this weekend, right? Maybe we should leave Salty at the dock. He's got the curse. He's got the pelagics curse. Yeah, they were within range last. Well, one of the things was they were almost like by the time the Dorado kind of got up, there was like a small window, like a week where they were eating. One of the problems is like once they eat and they've kind of migrated, they don't. You can see them and find them, but they don't eat, they don't bite, they don't want to feed anymore. So you really got to get them when they're just like stupid, out of control. But they're definitely like one of the funnest fish, I think, to catch. But yeah, I mean, let's talk a little bit about the Dorado now that we're on the Dorado kick and they're moving up. So did a little research, mostly some Wikipedia stuff. But for those of you guys that aren't too familiar with the Dorado, there was the picture, obviously, in my thumbnail, and they're one of these fish that go by like many fish, like the bonito and stuff like that. They get kind of confusing with the names. Different parts of the region call them different things. We usually call them Dorado here. Mahi mahi is probably the second common. Mahi mahi is pretty common here too, but I think Dorado is probably the most common name, which is odd because Dorado, like a proper Dorado, is like some freshwater fish that like we don't even have here. It's like some funky looking thing. And then I think the true name is like a dolphin. They're called dolphin fish, and I think that's more of like a West Coast thing in Florida. You hear people refer to them as dolphins. Like the first time I heard it, they were like, some guys like, "Yeah, we were out there and we caught some dolphins." I was like, "What the hell? You can catch dolphins in Florida?" I mean, I knew Florida was crazy, but I didn't think you can catch dolphins in Florida. And it was the Dorado that they were showing. So they go by a few names. Dolphin. So if you hear dolphin fish or common dolphin fish, mahi mahi, Dorado, it's all the same thing. That green blue fish. One of the other cool things about Dorado is that they're almost like the rats of the ocean. I mean, and it's a good thing for sport fishing because they're actually a good eating fish. Normally, when fish are all over the place and they breed like crazy, they a lot of times could be like invasive. The Dorado, since they're good eating and you can fish a lot of them, they're actually really good for the fishery. They're least concerned. They don't have any threat of being endangered or anything like that. And one of the things is because they're very, very, very fast growing fish. The Dorado, apparently they only like their max lifespan is only 5 years. And apparently it says what I read is most don't make it past 4 years. So honestly, like 4 years is a good life for a Dorado. 5 years is like max that these things are going to last. And they become sexually mature within 4 months, like 4 to 5 months. at like 7 inches long or something like that, they can start breeding, both the male and female. Not only that, they breed all year long, so they don't have like this like spawning period, where they go and do their thing within a certain location somewhere in the Bermuda Triangle and then come back. Like they spawn kind of year round. Looks like the females 3 or 4 times a year they spawn throughout the year, and yeah, they get mature within like 4 months, and then they grow extremely, extremely fast. So, um, you see a lot of Dorado out there. Like last year, there was like hundreds of thousands of them out there. You see some of the numbers people are catching, and everybody gets upset. Like, oh, you're going to overfish. Like, you're not going to overfish the Dorado. And I think that's one of the things is they're one of the most sustainable fish we have, simply because their growth rate is so fast and they grow big so fast and they die so soon. So it's not like, even the bass that we have in the bays, calico bass, sand bass, spotties, live, I mean, much longer than these fish do, and they take so long to get big. That's why when you find these big ones, it's so kind of rare, because like the bass grow really fast, but then they hit like like that 13-inch mark. It seems like they hit, and then it's just years and years and years before they start reaching 15, 16, 17. When you start seeing these 17, 18, 19-inch, like spotted bay bass, and even the big calicos and sand bass, those are really old fish. Like they grow up fast, but then they kind of stop. Where the Dorado, they get full size. I mean, their lifespan is less than 5 years. So by 4 years, they can be up to like 44 pounds and stuff like that. 40 pounder is pretty big. They're usually within, 3 foot range, kind of that 30 pound, 20, 30 pound range. But yeah, super fun. One thing I didn't know when I was looking is, how apparently the males have that real square head where it's like 90-degree angle, and then the females have like that rounded dome. I didn't know that for some reason, and I've caught both, and I just thought it was like, I thought one was a juvenile and one was an adult, to be honest with you. But apparently the females have that rounded head. It's more smooth, and the males have that big, huge square head. And the males get bigger too. So I think that's kind of why when I was catching some of the rounded head ones, I just figured they were younger, juvenile, because all the big ones had the square head. Well, we know that the males get bigger. That's why they have that square head. And the one with the round head are actually females, which I guess I didn't really put two and two together, because the few that I caught last year, um, they had the rounded head, they had the roe inside. So they were full of eggs, but I just figured, I didn't know they had a difference between their head. But I have seen the difference. So that was something that we definitely learned. Dorado's a lot better name than the mahi. You don't like the mahi? Mahi or dolphin, either way. Which one do you like better? Dorado, dolphin, or mahi? I feel like Dorado's the most common here in California. Have you used submission jigs for Dorado? If so, what size? I was thinking about trying it out. Yeah, you can look at. I have a video online. I think it's called Slow Pitching Patties, where I caught quite a few Dorado on the jigs. Those I was using, I believe, 60 and 40 grams. And we found a patty where they were biting, and yeah, I would just cast a jig out on the patty and let it sink. And yeah, they were coming and smoking it. I caught yellowtail, yellowfin, and Dorado, all on like a few patties, but using the same jigs, but 60 gram and then 40 gram primarily. And we've got some 80 grams now, which I'm definitely going to bust out, which I think would even be better. Like these ones, the longer, like ogre style. Got them in the mackerel and then the rainbow. These are kind of why we made them, to like fish the patties and the yellowtail and stuff like that. And then even kind of the more shallow rockfish. So we're going to try these out. Apparently somebody was telling me they were out there smoking them with these things. But 60 gram was kind of the ticket last year. Just stock out of the bag. I mean, it's fun. It's a fun fight. Yeah. Dave knows. He's on it. East Coast dolphin. Yeah. That's what we were talking about. So in Florida, they're like, yeah, we're catching dolphins. Yeah. It's fun, man. Catching dodos on the jig it's fun, man. It's a blast. One of the fastest growing fish in the ocean, very sustainable. Yep. If you hook one. Yes. I have that in my notes, Captain Dan. I have that in my notes. As far as like letting it soak, so yeah, we could talk about that. Where I don't know if we were talking about the same thing, but I have in my notes to like let them eat. So it's my experience is this kind of how to catch them. If you guys are like fly lining live baits, Dorado seem to be those fish that you want to let them like eat the bait, and you don't want to just set the hook for whatever reason. These are those type of fish that just they like to chew on the bait, they like to eat it, and then you just let them take it. Usually a circle hook on a live sardine is typically the call, but when you feel them nibbling, just let them go. And then once you'll notice your line coming off the reel, once it starts speeding up, then just put it in gear and start reeling. I think one of the biggest mistakes people make with the Dorado is they start feeling the nibble and then they just set the hook and they lose a lot of fish. And the Dorado get crazy. And sometimes if you're using J hooks, which I don't like, is because if you gut hook them or hook them in the back or like the top of the mouth, Dorado, they jump out of the water. They go crazy. They flop around. They swim side to side. And if you didn't get a good hook, like if you hooked them deeper in the mouth or you like gut hooked them, by the time they jump out and flop, you're going to lose it. And you really can't set the hook on them. You're just going to rip the bait out of their mouth. They like to eat it. They kind of, if you've ever seen a video, they kind of bite it, they turn it, and then before they swallow it. So if you feel like you've got to, and I know it's hard. I know it's hard when you feel the bite, especially if you guys are like bass fishermen out there. I know you guys want to set the hook like a, torpedo underwater where it explodes and you just yank it out. Like it's not bass fishing. They don't have the giant mouth. They don't inhale the bait, and why they do that with the bass is the mouth is so big. And when they eat it, they inhale it. Do you want to set the hook because it's just the nature of how the fish does, because it'll spit it out. The Dorado chew, it's not like a bass. It doesn't vacuum in the fish. They kind of eat it. So let them eat it. Let them eat it. And once you notice your line's going out, slowly apply the pressure, then put it in gear. And you can even thumb the reel. So if you're using like a bait caster or conventional, slow it down with your thumb. Once it starts to slow down, then click it in gear and just start reeling, and you'll be in good shape. Um, yeah, you can't be too hasty with them. You have to be patient. I've seen so many bites get lost. So patience is the key. Unless you're using a jig, and that's the only difference, just because the jigs have the assist hooks. Once they come up and smack it, um, because they like to usually eat it in the middle. They come up and hit it. You got the two hooks. So if they bite it center, a lot of times they'll bite the side of it and they'll turn it around and eat it in a few bites. But if they bite a jig, you don't have to wait. That's a different story. Because once they hit it, the hook's already there and they usually just hook themselves. But yeah, live bait, circle hooks, let them chew. So I don't know if that's what you're talking about, the same thing, but I've also heard a theory, and I don't know if this is true, and you guys comment on this, is that I've heard the theory like if you lose fish that like the school like leaves and it's bad for like fishing. So like I've heard deckhands like say this: if you're losing fish, it makes the school leave, but like if you're landing fish and hooking them, they stay with the boat or something like that. So I don't know if it's like they get hooked and then they take off and jet, and then like the rest of them follow them, maybe something like that. But apparently they were saying like if you hook them and land them, the school doesn't get, they'll stick around the boat longer or something like that. So I don't know if that's true. I don't know if there's any validity to that, but kind of makes sense. You got to imagine if a fish was hooked and got spooked, that it's taken off. And sometimes if one of them takes off, fish are schooling animals, especially these ones too. Um, they school together and they take off. Like I said, I don't know if that's like a proven thing, but I have heard that many times, the importance of landing fish. Fluorescent colors are money for the Dorado. Yeah, what was it last year? It was all pink. The pink and glow was what I think that was what I used the whole time. 60 gram. I think it was the pink assassin. And then I threw the sumo too and caught some on the 40 gram sumo, but I think that was pink as well. I don't know if I chose that intentionally. It was just kind of what I had was the pink jigs, but yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, me and Graham went out. Remember dude, me and Graham went out last year late in the season, and we found patties, and we found them too, and it was like they were like straight up jumping inside, like right next to my boat, and I was throwing like little 20 gram jigs, and they'd follow it. They'd follow it all the way to the boat, but they would not eat everything we were throwing, and they're just swimming around the boat. And like I said, that was kind of later where they were huge, and I think that was like the telltale sign they weren't going to eat. The ones we were seeing were just like monsters swimming by the boat. You probably almost could have gaffed them if you wanted to. Oh, it was crazy, and we just had no interest. And it wasn't just us; everybody was like, "Yeah, dude, they're all here, but they're just no takers." Talk about a sustainable fit. Yeah, dude, you could catch Dorado all day. They're gonna be fine. Yeah, they're like rabbits, dude. They're like the vermin of the sea. I had a Dorado chase my lure in the air on the cast, and it hits the water and bam. Yeah, they're nuts, dude. When they're stupid, when Dorado were going nuts, they're so fun. Especially when you show up to the patty and you look down on the boat and they're just going bananas. Like it's gonna be a good day when they're just zipping past back and forth, eating everything in sight. Super fun. Check your focus. Captain Dan said it's true. We lost the fish and it shut off the bite in the East Cape on us. Interesting. Hook one and keep it under the boat until the next one is hooked. Been done many, many times. Okay. That's interesting. So Captain Dan and Coach are both saying that's a true. So it's not a wives' tale, huh? Keep the bite on. Fleur pink and blaze orange are the best dodo colors, in my opinion. Nice. Yeah, anything that makes sense. Something kind of bright, right? Gets them wound up. Correct, Coach. Standard operating procedure on East Cape. That's good to know. Yeah, so don't lose it. Don't lose the fish. You definitely want them by the boat as long as you can. You don't want them to know something's up, I guess. What else did I have here on the dodos? Oh yeah, bag limits too. So what's interesting, even though they are like the most sustainable fish, pretty much we have as far as pelagics go, anyways. I'm sure you can catch sand dabs all day; and they'd be pretty sustainable. But the Dorado in Mexico, your bag limit is two fish, which isn't very much. And a lot of times it's a problem because you go to patties, and if you're on a sport boat, when they're popping off, it's like it's the only thing you can catch. Even though you're looking for yellowfin, you're just everybody catches two, and then you're just throwing them back and back, trying to catch something else on the patty. Now, in the U.S., in America, you can catch 10 Dorado, two in Mexico, 10 in the U.S. And it was funny because last year, I know there was people fishing, and I could hear about it on the radio, and they were coming back. Or you'd see pictures, right? People were like fishing in Oceanside. They're like, yeah, we got limits, and everybody's holding up two Dorado, thinking that the limit was two. No, the limit is 10 Dorado in the United States. Apparently, they're not. They don't have an official regulation, so they fall under like it's kind of like a federal thing. It's like a 10 fish law. So if it's not specifically stated, just so you know, it's like 10 fish is like the de facto limit. So apparently they're not really like a regulated catch in the US. So they fall under that federal kind of 10 limit fish. So if you find them in Oceanside, Newport, or here when they're here in San Diego, just off the 9, eating off the patties, you can keep 10 Dorado. But two in Mexico, so don't get it mixed up either. Don't cross that line and go into Mexico and start catching 10 fish. So just one of those weird things, about bag limits that have changed. Mexican commercial fishery versus none in the U.S. Yeah, it definitely could be. Definitely could be. Or they're trying to protect the commercial fishery for them. Yeah, if you get the stupid Dorado, you'll load up on limits in like no time. It's crazy. They go nuts. I trolled last year for Dorado with tuna feathers, and the pink one got bit more than the rest. Something about pink is money. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I would just throw on the pink but there must be something to that. Because I definitely was slaying them on the pink jigs. That is good to know. Yeah, let them eat. Yeah, I think that was pretty much just all I had on the Dorado updates. Just what to look for. As far as catching them, the biggest thing is just letting them eat. They're typically on patties. You can find them If you can find the bait, they're kind of nomadic. They're just like any pelagic. Um, they don't stay in one place. They don't live anywhere. They follow the bait. When the water's warm, the bait makes it up. They follow the bait. They eat the bait. Um, and the bait's usually on patties, so that's just typically how it is. So it's not to say they're always on patties. Usually, if you can find if you can find the boils, go cast on them. It could be anything, especially out here in Southern California this time of year. Could be bluefin, could be yellowtail, could be calicos, could be dorado, could be anything pushing those fish up. But patties are pretty much, if a patty's holding fish this time of year, it's probably got dorado on it. Yellowtail too, yellowfin, they're all in there. They're all buddies. They all hang out doing their thing. Let's see what else fishing wise. Oh yeah, the current jam. Oos, welcome to the show. Glad you could join us, everyone. New to San Diego. The weather has been difficult for me on a smaller 20-foot boat. The wind and swell has not made it fun. Is it normal weather this time of year in SD? Um, normally the wind. So I have a 19-foot boat, pilot house. I don't have a big boat either, and actually haven't been on my boat in a couple of days, so I haven't been checking the wind. It kind of comes and goes. The weather, for the most part, in San Diego, or the wind, I should say, where we are in San Diego, is typically pretty mild, especially compared to like Florida and places on the East Coast. Um, but it's like anything, it's kind of temperate. It seems like when we get the wind and the chop, it comes in phases. It'll be like that for a week, 2 weeks, and then it'll clear up, and then you'll get like another week or so of like flat weather. But it all depends. We get Santa Ana winds. Usually we get winds come from the north to the south. That creates the chop and stuff like that. So even though the wind is like not that bad, if it's we're kind of protected by the point up there, just north of like in kind of central California was that Point Conception, actually blocks a lot of the wind coming down, but that still affects the chop because it'll stir up the waves, and by the time it rolls down, it gets pretty choppy. But it's just hard to say. It's not always. We had days earlier this year where I was going out for like those rockfish trips. The videos I did, I think that second time we went out, it was like just glass calm, and the first time we went out, it was pretty choppy. So it's just hard to say. Just read the go to windy.com, check out the swell as well, and yeah, you should be okay. It should clear up. My understanding, like I said, I haven't been checking because I didn't take my boat out last week, but I know last week was kind of windy for sure. But it changes. It's been so the weather. I don't know. It's typically not like this, to be honest with you. It's coastal wise, the weather's been pretty. Um, it's been pretty mild. Um, this time of year, like last year, we were in. I mean, it was like 80. I live in Carlsbad, kind of coastal. It has not been 80 degrees all year. I think the hottest it's been is like 77 degrees. Off the coast, it's still been in the 60s in the morning. Um, so that plays into the weather as well. Fog has been rolling in thick. I know last week or two, it was huge fog on the coast. So it's a little funky for this year. Um, and I don't think that's normal. Last year was definitely different. It's not flat like a lot of Florida, if that's what your reference. I have a 25-foot boat. I canceled my trip for tomorrow due to swells. Yeah. Coach Worf says it's been a rough couple years. Yeah, I don't really know any different, but we just get out there unless it's like too hairy. But yeah, you just got to go slow. Prevailing wind. So Captain Dan, if you guys, he can definitely steer you in the direction current jam because he was been a captain for many years. Prevailing wind from the northwest, and it's up in the afternoons. Leave early, head out west. If the fish are out there, then come back with the wind on your way back. Yeah, that's a good tip. And that's West Coast boating 101 right there. Get out early. The wind usually always picks up around noon, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. It hits its heaviest, but yeah, then once you come back, it's behind you. Ride down sea. It's a lot more comfortable. That's great advice. Yeah, we do. It's just been. It does it. It feels more like June. I think that's what we were talking about as far as water wise too. We're like behind. Everything's seems like it's a month behind what it was last year. The weather, the fishing, it's been slower. Yeah, you should always be leaving early for sure. It's usually always the best. There's almost no wind in the mornings, it, except for some days it is, but typically it'll kick up around that right around like at 1 and 2 o'clock. It starts picking up for sure. Right in the middle of the day too. What the hell's going on in California? Rain and wind and swell. I'm telling you, man. That's why you guys got to get those pilot houses. All you psychos out there on small center consoles in the middle of nowhere. You guys are the real fishermen. I'm the lightweight fisherman. Let's see. And then did I talk about the sand bass bite? I don't know. That's what I want to talk about. The sand bass bite um, has been really good in Newport. So if you guys are up there in the Newport area, sand bass have been popping off last couple of days. People have been getting like 5, 6 pound fish pretty consistently. Huge. I mean, I've been seeing some pictures that have like Davy's Locker that these fish were just out of like monster sand bass. And they were talking about how this is what the sand bass fishing used to be like years and years ago, and they haven't seen it for a while. For whatever reason, a lot of these big sand bass have pushed in. So if you want to get on like and these, we're talking half day fishing. So if you want to get on a half day boat and you're in the Newport area, see if you can go find some sand bass. Sand bass eat jigs, so we bring some slow death jigs with you. They're absolutely great jig fish to catch. But sand bass, I just want to put that on your guys' radar. If that's your thing, apparently it's been better than it's been in some years. So check out the sand bass for sure. 4 foot swell in 5 seconds. Yeah, dude, that's chaos. I don't want none of that. That's a very, very choppy ride. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The best is when it's like 2, 3 footers with like 16 seconds. Yeah, you just haul ass out there. Swell height at half the interval in seconds. It's a good formula. It's a good formula. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I had. Oh yeah, shout out to the guys at Time on the Water. They had me on their show. If you guys, we were live on Instagram, so if you guys check that out, that's really cool. So Luke, Charlie, Daniel, thank you for having me on. I don't know if they record their show or not. We did it Tuesday. I was on there for an hour and a half, just talking fishing. Super fun, super cool guys. So check out their show, guys, on Instagram. It's called Time on the Water. They usually do a live show on Tuesdays. Really fun. Somebody was, but I don't think they recorded it and posted it anywhere. So I don't know if it's just like a one-time thing and it's lost. I'll have to ask them about that because I know some people were asking um, for the replay, and I don't know if that's a thing. Carl Black Oos, welcome to the tail end of the show. Glad you could join us. Let me see here if I had any. If you guys have any questions, let me know, and I'll see what we have on. If we had any Instagram questions here. Cave Dog said submission at sea 2023. Oos, let's go, Cave Dog. Yeah, a few more days. Friday, 2 more sleeps. Thursday, Friday, and then we're out there. And Jig Junkie said, any fishing nephews and nieces coming soon? Not for me. If you're asking children, we haven't any kids. Not to know if I've got the one. I'm on Mother Nature's time, dude. I'm in my 40s, and so is my wife. And I know we've got our daughter just turned 1. I had her in my 40s, so we're kind of. I think I'm okay, right? Men, we can have them for a while, but we were trying like. Took us like 3 years to have the first one, so we might have maxed out on that one. We'll see. If we do have another one, it'll probably we'll be some old ass parents. We're already gonna be old ass parents. When my daughter's 20, I'll be in my 60s. Just think about that. Old fart. Benji, Tom Cott Moreno, 1999. Good on submission at sea, guys. Hey, thank you, Benji. I really appreciate that, dude. Never necessary to send any tips, but helping keep the lights on, dude. I really appreciate it. You're the man. I'm gonna have to come visit you in Yuma. I mean, Bullhead. Like I said, my dad lives out there. He's coming on the trip too, which is pretty cool. But yeah, next time I'm out there in Bullhead, I'll definitely hit you up when I go finish him. We'll go fish the river. Go look for some stripers or something. I don't know much about fishing it, but I fished it once and didn't catch a damn thing. But it was also like 130 degrees out, so I don't know what's biting at that time of year. Watch for a few minutes before I had to move on. Yeah, that's cool. Dude. Glad you stopped by. Magic seaweed or windy? I use both. Usually, I use windy for the wind and then magic seaweed for the swell. I know they both do both. Sometimes I'll just do what is it? Tides for fishing is kind of like my jam, but windy is like the first thing I look at just to check the wind, because if the wind is trash, like I don't even bother looking at the swell. You know what I mean? And they got that nice color chart, and you can see pretty quickly what the wind's going to be like. So usually I'll start at magic sea or windy, and if the wind looks good and it's like in the purple and it's like super flat, a lot of times then I'll go check out the swell. But the wind first, because that's everything. If the wind's ripping, I'm like, I'm already out. They merged with another app. Magic Seaweed did, right? I think they merged with, because I think I looked them up um, a little while ago, and it was like a different name or something like that. Yeah, I've had pretty good luck with them, for sure. We could check it out. Check out the map. We'll see if check out Windy. Let's see if it's something I would fish in. See if we can get there. Oh, I don't know. Might be my computer bogging down. I don't know if that's gonna happen. Technical difficulties. Yeah, Salty saying this weekend's looking pretty good on wind. Yeah, I don't know. My stream froze, guys. So sorry about that. Yeah, Salty was saying this weekend looks pretty good on windy. Yeah, I mean, we'll be on a sport boat. It doesn't matter. So that's the one good thing about like the fleet is when you're fishing on the big boats, the wind still sucks. It'll push you, but you're not too worried about the swell. It's like they'll just go through it. Or ports for Dorado real? No, dude, it's real. The day boats we're getting on them. San Diego got on some. Some of the other day boats. They weren't huge numbers by any means, but they're definitely pushing up. That's what we were talking about early in the show. Um, they're definitely going. Yeah, Dave Ridge, exactly. You're on a sport boat. You're good. Yeah, we're not out there on a 19 footer. 100%. See here. See if we can try this again. Oh, there we go. Let's see here. I don't even know where the hell I'm at. There we go. It's just loading really slow. Yeah, so there's the islands. See right here, like right now, the Channel Islands is just blown out. But this is usually our protection right here. This is what keeps a lot of the wind off, but right now it's pretty bad. Let's take a look at Saturday. Oh, that's perfect. So you see here, 5 a.m. Like it doesn't get better than that. 2 knots, 1 knot. So if you leave early, you're good. And you see where we get the protection from the point here. And that's one of the saving graces we have here in Southern California. The back end of the Channel Islands are getting hit pretty hard, but then we'll see what happens later in the day. That's still good. What is that? 6 a.m., 12 p.m., 6 knots. Still not bad, though. I mean, that's definitely doable. But you can see later in the day, let's see, like 1 p.m. That's not bad. Yeah, this Saturday, I think that's not too bad. Could definitely be worse. I'd go out in that. Should I bring a trolling rig? I mean, you can. They might have them, but I feel like they have them on the boat. Usually when they do trolling, they rotate. But I mean, if you got one, yeah, go ahead and bring it. I don't see why not. We'll see what happens. Yeah, yeah, it hasn't been wide open for sure. It's been like you're saying, kind of here or there. So I don't know how deep they're going, but they're definitely pushing up here. Should be pretty cool. All right, guys. If you have any more questions, hopefully you learned something about Dorados today. Thanks for coming and hanging out. I appreciate seeing all you guys. Benji Moreno, thank you for the $20, dude. I really appreciate it. For those of you going on submission at sea, I will see you guys this Saturday. Be at the docks at 6 a.m. You should have gotten an email. If not, we might send another one out with all the details. Just bring all your gear. I'd be prepared for anything. Who knows what we're going to fish for? It should be a good time. We got lots of sponsors, lots of cool people on the trip. So no matter what, it's going to be fun. We'll figure it out. Worst case scenario, we're going to come in the bay and we'll fish spotties on the Maui. Just kidding. Leonard Oos, member for 13 months. My man. Thank you for rejoining. I appreciate it. Take care, everyone. Have a fun trip. Yeah, guys, if you have any other questions, just let me know. Hit me up on Instagram or whatnot. And we'll see you guys again next Thursday. Hopefully we'll have a better report for you guys, see what we had. And yeah, until next time, guys. Oos. Thanks for joining.